A series of drugs and pharmaceuticals. In previous session, we discussed the pharmaceutical chemistry, the objectives, the drug designing, drug development and IT drug discovery also. So, the drugs are chemical substance that is used to prevent or cure disease in humans, animals or in plants. The benefits of drugs are that they improve quality of life and life expectancy also. In 1850, the life period of human beings were 47 years, but now it is 70 years. But there are some problems also like cost, overdoses, side effects. Overuse can result in tolerance in humans and resistance in pathogens also. In this lecture session, we will discuss the classification of drugs, then synthesis of representative drugs of analgesic agents, antipyretic agents and anti-inflammatory agents. Let us start with the classification of drugs. Drugs can be classified on number of ways. First one, on the basis of molecular targets. It is useful for medicinal chemists. Various enzymes and receptors in the cell are the areas of the common drug targets. Next classification is based on the basis of chemical structure, like sulfonamides have common structural features. One more classification which is based on the basis of action on a particular biochemical process. All antihistamines inhibit the action of the compound histamine, which produces symptoms of allergic reactions. Next classification is based on the basis of pharmacological effects, which is very useful to the doctors because they help in the treatment of a particular type of health problems. Like analgesics are painkillers, antibiotics have antimicrobial properties and tranquilizers reduce mental stress. Let us discuss, viewers, the types of pains. Pain has been classified into the following types, like for touching a hot iron object or getting a cut, we feel a pain, that is physiological pain. If there is a pain due to injury to the peripheral or central nervous system, that type of pain is neuropathic pain. If pain initiated by any infection or tissue injury, that is known as inflammatory pain. There is a separate category is recognized for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome AIDS because of its disseminated nature. So, these were the types of pains. Now, discuss what are analgesics. An analgesic may be defined as a drug bringing about insensibility to pain without loss of consciousness. You can say that analgesics are medicines that reduce pain. Many analgesics also have antipyretic properties as well. They can be used to reduce fever. Some analgesics are also anti-inflammatory drugs as well. So, today we will discuss some common analgesics like aspirin, paracetamol and ibuprofen. Let us discuss the history of analgesics. Willow bark is known to have been used by the ancient Greeks to help cure fever and pain. Then it was later discovered that the active ingredient was salicylic acid. Then it was modified by chemists into the substance we call aspirin, which is less irritating to the stomach than salicylic acid. Let us discuss the classification of analgesics. Analgesics can be broadly classified into two types. First one, strong analgesics. The example are morphine, heroin, codeine, and second category is for mild analgesics. The examples are aspirin, ibuprofen and paracetamol. Let Let's start with strong analgesics. The strong analgesics are only available by prescription. It is used to relieve severe pain associated with injuries, heart attacks or chronic diseases such as cancer. Most strong analgesics are derived from the opium poppy or synthetically produced. Basically, there are three types of strong analgesics: natural, semi-synthetic and synthetic analgesics. So, there is an example. It is the chemical structure of morphine. Morphine is naturally occurring in a plant which is known as poppy and only needs to be isolated. It is very strong pain reliever, but also very addictive. The synthetic strong analgesics are known as opioids. This is the active chemical structure. The active area of morphine has been identified and can be synthesized. This has produced many synthetic analgesics and has allowed scientists to eliminate some of the harmful side effects of more natural analgesics. One more example is here, that is codeine. This is the chemical structure of codeine. Codeine is most commonly used strong analgesic and it is similar to morphine except for the replacement of OH group by OCH3 group. It is 1/6 as strong as morphine and it is less addictive if we compare it with morphine. Apomorphine. This is the chemical preparation of apomorphine and this is the chemical structure. When morphine or morphine hydrochloride is heated at 140 degrees centigrade under pressure with strong 35% hydrochloride, it loses a molecule of water and yields a compound known as apomorphine. Heroin. This is the chemical structure of heroin. It is synthesized from morphine in an esterification reaction with acetyl chloride. It is absorbed by the brain and very quickly resulting in a potent high. Let's discuss the mechanism of action of strong analgesics. How do they work? The human body contains natural opiates in the brain that is called endorphins. These are produced in the body during extreme conditions such as running high and extreme injuries. When these are absorbed by receptors in the brain, the body feels analgesia and the pain is reduced. Endorphins are not used as analgesics. You know what's the reason? Because they cannot be stored and are unstable. Opiates derived from the poppy act in the same way as endorphins but are not natural to the human body. So, the high is produced because of the absorption of opiates is quicker than endorphins. Drugs such as naloxone act to fill the receptors in the brain but are not analgesics and thus are used to prevent overdoses on analgesics. The therapeutic use of strong analgesics are reducing pain, excitement, slow nervous system, slowed heart rate, loss of cough reflex and nausea. There are some side effects also, like overdoses can lead to death and possibility of stroke. Overall slowdown of biological system, addiction and very strong withdrawal effects, loss of appetite and problems associated with buying street drugs, that is sharing needles and that can generate AIDS. Let's focus on mild analgesics. Mild analgesics include over the counter pain relievers and fever depressants also. It includes aspirin, ibuprofen and acetaminophen. In addition to their analgesic properties, ibuprofen and aspirin are members of the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory group of drugs and are thus used to reduce swelling and inflammation. Aspirin was the first drug. It was isolated in 1829 by Leroux from willow bark, and it is a derivative of salicylic acid. Its chemical name is acetyl salicylic acid. Aspirin is analgesic, anti-inflammatory, and it is an inhibitor of platelet aggregation. Salicylates are given orally and are rapidly absorbed. In 1899, Felix Hoffmann, a chemist from the Bayer company, developed a low-cost process to synthesize an ethanoate ester of salicylic acid called aspirin. This is the chemical synthesis of aspirin. As you can see that salicylic acid is reacting with acetic acid and we get acetyl salicylic acid. Aspirin is a versatile drug because it is able to reduce pain and fever and dilate blood vessels. It is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug with a wide range of physiological effects. The vasodilation of the surface blood vessels also allows an increase of heat released which lowers the temperature of a fever. Aspirin is also taken to prevent recurring heart attacks. It may also be effective in preventing prostate cancer. Aspirin enlarges blood vessels which help prevent blood clots, and it is also an anticoagulant. It dissolves corns and calluses and it provokes loss of uric acid, which is a toxin, but promotes retention of fluids in the kidneys. At very low doses, aspirin is used to treat and prevent heart attacks and blood clots. But at very high doses, it is an effective anti-inflammatory agent which is used to treat rheumatic fever, gout and rheumatoid arthritis. Most patients benefit from aspirin and other NSAIDs with few side effects. However, serious side effects can occur and generally tend to be dose related. Therefore, it is advisable to use the lowest effective dose to minimize side effects. The most common side effect of aspirin involve the gastrointestinal system and ringing in the air. It can cause ulceration, abdominal burning, pain, cramping, nausea, gastritis and even serious gastrointestinal bleeding and liver toxicity. If aspirin is used over long periods of time, it may lead to problems with blood clottings. Some people are allergic to aspirin, leading to bronchial asthma. In children under 12, aspirin has been linked to Ray's syndrome. Let us discuss another mild analgesic, that is ibuprofen. This is the chemical structure of ibuprofen. The chemical name is 2,4-isobutyl phenyl propanoic acid. Ibuprofen is a popular over-the-counter drug that has pain relief and anti-inflammatory properties. Ibuprofen is a more powerful pain reliever than aspirin, but in high doses, but it is inferior for anti-inflammation. The isobutyl group was found to be the most effective, hence the name is given ibuprofen. The Boots Company PLC of Nottingham, England, they discovered ibuprofen, patented a synthesis of ibuprofen, hereafter known as Brown synthesis. In the 1960s, that has been the method of choice for the industrial preparation of ibuprofen for many years. BSC company in 1991 implemented green synthesis of ibuprofen, which only required 3 steps, and this process eliminating most of the waste by products. Let's discuss the Booth synthesis, which is also known as Brown synthesis. The Booth synthesis of ibuprofen involved 6-step process that generated millions of pounds of unwanted waste. The making of ibuprofen begins with the compound called isobutyl benzene. In first step, the Friedel-Crafts acylation takes place that uses catalyst aluminum chloride and that generate aluminum trichloride hydrate as waste byproduct. This is the first step. In second step, which is Darson reaction takes place, it is with ethyl chloroacetate that result in an epoxy ester compound. This is second step reaction. In third step, which involves decarboxylation and hydrolyzation, which form an aldehyde. This is the process, third step. And in fourth step, which is a reaction with hydroxylamine, which give an oxime. The fourth step is this. Finally, we get an oxime. In fifth step, the oxime is converted to a nitrile. The nitrile is 2,4-isobutyl phenyl propane nitrile. This is the conversion of oxime to nitrile. In last step, the hydrolyzation of the nitrile group takes place, which results the final product, that is 2-isobutyl phenyl propanoic acid. This is the final reaction, this nitrile conversion of nitrile to ibuprofen. The green synthesis of ibuprofen, because Booth synthesis was producing lots of waste, so there was a green synthesis which was developed by BHC in 1991. In the first step of green synthesis, a Friedel-Crafts acylation takes place in which they used hydrogen fluoride as a catalyst that can be recovered and reused. Let's discuss how ibuprofen work. Ibuprofen belongs to the same family of drugs, that is NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Ibuprofen works in the same way as aspirin works. Ibuprofen sticks to the enzyme cyclooxygenase COX-2, so it can't produce prostaglandin, which reduces pain and swellings. There are some side effects of ibuprofen also. The most common are rashes, ringing in the ears, headaches, dizziness, drowsiness, abdominal pain observed, nausea, diarrhea, constipation and heartburn. Let's focus on another analgesic, that is paracetamol. This is the chemical structure of paracetamol. Paracetamol is a common analgesic that is used for the relief of fever, headaches and other minor aches and pains. It is a major ingredient in numerous cold and flu medication and many prescription analgesics. Let's discuss the history of paracetamol. The paracetamol was first synthesized in 1890s and was found to be an excellent analgesic. Soon after, the drug was mistakenly thought to deactivate the action of hemoglobin, which is oxygen carrier in the blood, and as a result was highly ignored until the 1940s. But in more recent times, paracetamol has been re-established as a useful and effective painkiller. Paracetamol is a white odorless substance. Paracetamol and aspirin have similar analgesic properties because of the similarity in structure. It is suitable and safe for children and people with ulcers who cannot take aspirin. Let's discuss the mechanism of action of paracetamol. The production of prostaglandin is part of the body's inflammatory response to injury, and inhibition of prostaglandin production around the body by blocking the cyclooxygenase enzyme known as COX-1 and COX-2 has long been known to be the mechanism of action of aspirin and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as ibuprofen. Paracetamol has no significant action on COX-1 and COX-2, which left its mode of action is a mystery, but did explain its lack of anti-inflammatory action and also, more importantly, its freedom from gastrointestinal side effects typical to non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Research has shown the presence of a new previously unknown cyclooxygenase enzyme, which is COX-3, found in the brain and in spinal cord also. The selective inhibition of enzyme COX-3 in the brain and spinal cord explain the effectiveness of paracetamol in relieving pain, in reducing fever without having any unwanted gastrointestinal side effects. Let's discuss the difference between aspirin and paracetamol. There are important differences between the effects of aspirin and paracetamol. First one, prostaglandin participate in the inflammatory response, but paracetamol has no appreciable anti-inflammatory action. Furthermore, COX also produces thromboxanes which aid in blood clotting. Aspirin reduces blood clotting, but paracetamol doesn't. Aspirin and the other NSAIDs commonly have adverse effect on the stomach lining, but paracetamol is safe. The indirectly blocking of COX explain the effectiveness of paracetamol in the central nervous system and in endothelial cells, but not in platelets and immune cells which have high level of peroxides. So viewers, in this session we discuss analgesics. Analgesics are painkillers and are known as a group of drugs that include aspirin, acetaminophen and ibuprofen. In addition to their analgesic properties, ibuprofen and aspirin are members of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory group of drugs and are thus used to reduce swelling as well as inflammation. So viewers, in next session we will discuss different antimicrobial agents like antibiotics, antifungal agents, antiparasitic agents. Thank you.